So we are asked to write a trig equation from this graph. So we have to do a couple of identificating things. Identificating, that's not a word. I don't care. I said it. Identificating some things. So the first thing we want to do is find the midline. So I notice that there's a maximum up there at positive 4, and I notice there's a minimum down here at negative 2. So if I have a maximum at positive 4 and a minimum of negative 2, that means the middle must be here at positive 1. So this is your midline, the thing that runs down the middle of your trig graph. Okay, we can find that by the average. 4 minus 2 divided by 2 is 2 over 2, which is positive 1. Okay, just take your maximum and your minimum and find the average of those two values, or find the middle of them. Okay, so we have a midline of 2. That is our vertical shift. So we'll put a plus 1 at the very, very end of our equation. That's where we get the middle. Okay, next let's look at the period. So a period is found by picking out two of the exact same points on your graph. They can be from midline intercept to midline. It can be from minimum to minimum, and I think in this case that's what we're going to do, because I can pretty much see exactly where these things are. Okay, so that's going to be the length of my period. Now looking at my labels, every 2 ticks is a pi. So there's a pi. This is negative pi. 2 more ticks. This is 2 pi. This one is 3 pi. Another 2 ticks. So then over here would be 4 pi if there were a tick right there. So if I am labeling my things in terms of pi, I need to count how far it is. So there's 1 pi, 2 pi, 3 pi's. 4 pi's is what it takes for one minimum to match up with the other minimum. So this has a period of 4 pi, which is great because that helps me find the b value, or the coefficient of x, in my equation. So to do that, I take 2 pi and I divide it by the period. So 2 pi divided by 4 pi is 1/2. That is the b value for your equation, or the coefficient of x, or theta, whichever one you're using. Okay, so now we have to determine if there's a phase shift, and it looks like we have the exact point we want. The origin and the midline meet, so there's no phase shift. And this thing finally has an amplitude of positive 3. So putting all that together, we have 3, and this is a sine graph because it crosses at the origin, or rather the 0 is at the midline, so it's a sine graph. And then we have a 1/2 in front of your variable, so parenthesize that just so it looks pretty. And then we have the plus 1 for your midline shift. There's your equation.